Hello everyone and welcome to Bevins Bricks. I thought while I am sitting here doing a bunch of soldering on some of my custom wiring that I like to use throughout my city, this would be the perfect time to kind of make a quick video to give you some tips on how you can hide your wiring in your builds. I know I've been getting a lot of people that have been asking me various questions on how I am accomplishing that, how I'm running it through things and keeping it to where it's pretty much invisible, both with my own wiring and with companies like brickloot lights that I'm using on several builds. Anyway though, let's start with some of the basics. I say some of the basics because, well, this is pretty basic, and it's also the reason I build this way. A lot of people always wonder why I build on Mills plates, and I'm showing you the side of my city to show you that everything is literally built on Mills plates. And as you can see here, I've been working on my taxiway edge lights today, and I want to show you something. This is why I build on Mills plates. As you can see, I'm running these wires up and into the actual base of the telescopic piece or telescope piece with the LED inside of it. And then I'm simply just bringing the wires over here underneath my Mills plate, soldering them together, and I don't even care that I have a bunch of extra wire there because it's not seen. And here's the great part about it, because the way that I do everything, and I just want to pull this apart and show you, when I'm done, I just have one little plug that I actually pull through on the side of each individual Mills plate. And then I tuck that little plug down to the bottom of the table. And mind you, this is not neat right now, but as you can see, I run it down, plug it in, and then run it to my USB power supply. Now, with me showing you that particular method, I do also want to quickly point out something that I consider to be critical information when trying to hide your wires. Here's what I mean by critical information. For example, this is one of my runway plates that I have not wired up yet. And the way that I do all my Mills plates, as everybody knows, is I like to use 4x4 plates to cover the top surface. Now, when I'm planning out my wiring, I always try to plan my wires to be right on the edge. So with that being said, this particular edge light here that I'm holding in my hand, I want to be right here on this edge. So I'm going to count it 3 studs off the edge of the runway, and then I'm going to place that guy on that stud right there. And I'm hoping you can see that I have the wire, and let me pull that camera back just a little bit. I'm hoping you can see the wire here. Now, there's a specific reason that I say that. Now, what I will do is I will take and kind of pull on that wire a little bit to get it taut against the edge of the surface here. I wanted to bring the camera closer so you get a better idea. But as you can see, I've already pushed it taut with my finger, so now the wire is running right at the edge of that. And here's what I mean by the critical part of doing the plate next to that now. A lot of people will just take their plate and just smash it down, and that is not what you want to do, because you are very likely going to cut this tiny little thin wire. What I always do when I'm placing a plate where it's going to have wire in between it like so, I will take that plate, I will push it up against the wire first, and snap that side down first, so that way I'm not putting a lot of drag on that wire, and then I will snap the rest of it in place. That way it's very unlikely, and I will even show you, that that wire will get damaged. Because quite often I find people will actually, and you can see it where it folds it like so, but quite often I will find people when they're installing their wiring kits in their buildings, and there's a situation where, like for example here, you have to run your wire between some plates. They will go to do that, and then the wire will snap. And the reason that's happening, because if you take a plate against another plate, and if I was to take it and then push it down like there, if the wire was in between here, that's just like pushing a pair of scissors against that wire, and it is going to cut it, and it is going to break it. Another key point in hiding your wiring, and keep in mind, most of the stuff that I do is actually custom creations, or mocks, as we all like to call them, my own creation. Specifically, I'm going to show you some really good examples in my Avengers Tower. But one of the things I can tell you is I like to build, sometimes if there's no other way to hide the wire, I will build what I call a little electrical tray, or a trough, if you will, to run my wires in. Now with my Avengers Tower getting closer and closer to being completed and doing a lot of different illumination in that, this is a great example and a great time for me to use as an example to show you what I'm referring to. When I say a trough, As you can see right here, I am missing one little stud. And what that reasoning is for, you can see that wire right there. And it runs that way through the entire build. And there's a reason that I did that, because if you look, and I'm hoping you can see it through the glass here, there is a light in each and every one of those. So there is actually a great deal of wire that's hidden up inside of that little bitty trough that you see right there. Another really cool way that I am actually able to hide wires is just by simply adding details where the wires are placed. And it's funny because once again, on the Iron Man Hall of Armor floor, I used this exact technique that I'm referring to. Now what I mean by that is there is actually wire that's running through here and then back over and then back up and then into those cases that are holding the Iron Man figures. And all I simply did is I made it look like there was a bunch of different cables and such running from side to side. And quite frankly, the only reason that is there, besides to add some detail, is to hide some wire. And let me see if I can pop that apart and just kind of show you real quickly what I'm referring to. There you go. See all that wire and the plugs that are down in there? And it's simply because I added a little bit of detail to hide it, and it just makes the building look better, and it hides a bunch of ugly looking wire. And besides just doing detail work there, I'm going to show you another example on the Steve Rogers floor. And you probably wouldn't notice unless I just pointed it out to you. I put some cables on the ceiling because there's a cable that comes down to the Steve Rogers chamber here. And part of the reason that I put those cables there is if you look right here behind them, there's a wire hanging there. And I thought, you know what, instead of me trying to tuck it away and hide it, why not just add some detail work in front of it and it'll make it go away. Now, the last method I'm going to discuss in this video is also probably one of my favorites, and it's another one that you'll never even notice. And what it's for is probably the most common problem when trying to hide your wires in your builds. And what that is if you're trying to go through a spot where there's a wall. Now, say you want to actually bring the wire through that spot right there. Now, a lot of people, they try to do that, and again, they have the issue of snapping the wire when they're doing it. And now, I already showed you one trick at the beginning of the video on how you want to slowly take it, apply that in first, and then press the rest of the brick down to avoid a problem. But here's another really cool way to do it. And quite simply, it just involves using this little round piece right here. And I even built one up just to show you an example of what I'm talking about. Not only is this a great way to add a little bit of greebling to the exterior of your building, but if you use that little round piece there, look what you have. You have a nice little tunnel to be able to run your wire through. And once again, going to my Avengers Tower build to show you what I'm talking about. This is the back of the building. This is this little living quarters right here. And how I'm doing it, as everybody knows, I'm running this elevator shaft all the way up through the building. Well, I wanted to have a little lamp that was right there that would be illuminated, and I didn't want the wires to be very visible. And as you can see, there is no wire anywhere in that room. But if you look through that wall right there, you'll see where I use the 1x1 round, and the wires just slide right through the wall. Anyway, though, those are just a few of the tips that I can give you. I could probably make about an hour-long video showing you tons of different ways to hide your Lego wiring kits. But I thought what I would rather do is break it up and make videos along the way, as opposed to trying to make one big long video and rush all the information in to one video. So expect to see more videos like these coming in the future. And I hope this helps, because I've had a lot of people asking me, how do you route your wires and how do you hide them? But anyway, that's all for this video. So as always, thank you for coming to Bevins Bricks. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share below. And hopefully we'll see you guys next time on Bevins Bricks.